Good morning,
Good afternoon.
good evening, wherever you are on our amazing planet. I'm Ariel.
I'm Shia. Welcome to The Illusion.
The illusion.
Yeah, this life is an illusion.
Mm.
You know, we live on a planet that is an infinitesimal speck in the universe, so small that, you get a few light years away, you don't even see it. Uh, and we think we're everything.
But for those of us who are here experiencing it, it's big, it's all consuming. And I want to
Magical,
take
alive.
take a moment for those of us who celebrate it to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Right.
And hope that the end of this year, whatever you celebrate, is really sweet and special. And of course, the entire year can be sweet and special, but sometimes we allow our hearts to be more available at this time of year.
Yeah, sometimes we do.
And
Depends on which family you grew up in.
that's true. You can have lots of disappointments. And, our family tended to be holiday fighters. I think the pressure of, doing holidays right and getting it all right and producing presents or whatever, it broke the stress layer and it often erupted into challenging moments.
But, most people blame the circumstances of their life, blame other people for being upset, rather than realize that they have upsets that live in them that are triggered by certain environmental events. When something happens that goes against your preferences, there's disappointments. And when you blame it on somebody else, you tend to keep it intact and keep it following you around year after year. What's possible is to allow yourself to experience what's happening in your life and discover that it's in your life. It's not caused by the circumstances. If you're well in yourself, even upsetting circumstances don't necessarily have to be upsetting. So that's a starting point for today.
Now, Shine, I know that this episode title is officially Community. And I really see that connecting in with this community allows for simple observation of how you are when things do come up that seem challenging for you.
Observation without self-reproach, without blaming yourself or anybody else, just seeing what's going on in you and allowing yourself to be exactly as you are, because that's the only way you could possibly be in the current moment.
Yeah, a recent Living Made Easy seminar, those are our 2-hour seminars that we have sometimes more than one time a week so that we can accommodate different days of the week and
People
time
in
zones.
different time zones.
We were talking with people about taking attention off ourselves and tuning in and putting attention on the other people and really fully listening to what someone has to say, not to agree or disagree, but simply to hear what they have to say and put one's full attention on something other than the story of your life. And as that happened, our minds calmed down. That kind of fragmented nature that happens when you have lots of different projects happening released. We began to enjoy each other. It's possible today that you can use this episode as an opportunity to take attention off yourself and simply be here for your moment. We are part of your community because you have invited us in, and we're really grateful to that, for that. Yeah. Thank you. Do we take our first guest?
Absolutely.
Utah. Welcome to being here. Tell people where you're zooming in from.
Hi there. Thank you for having me. I'm Jutta and I'm zooming in from Hardemstorf, a small village in Germany.
Welcome.
Yes.
Thank you.
What can we do for you?
I found the title of this episode, Community, very inspiring. Like I find community very inspiring. And I just, especially when I'm at one of your seminars and participating there and being fully there, I appreciate that community so much. It's so reassuring, it's inspiring, and I love this connection to have with people, to be who I am, because I'm used to, or I was used to very much question myself again and again and again. Did I do it right? Could I have done it differently? And that chatter in my mind is still there. But it's so easy if I can be in a community how I am and being appreciated how I am, then to really like be I am. Does that make any sense?
It makes some sense. I I was looking at you. You see, I have the
Luxury.
luxury, good word, of seeing you. And I recently saw you in Hamburg with your boyfriend when you were there for the seminar that we
The
did
art of
there.
being happy that we did in the fall.
Yes. And so much has changed. You know, they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, that's not the case. With transformation, you can become new at any moment. The age drops away. And so I've known you for several years, and you've attended seminars with us over the years. And the person I met this time in Hamburg was so incredibly different. There's a softness about you that is just inspirational. You know, when we first met, you were being a strong, independent woman.
And striving to get somewhere better and to be someone better than who you were. And it feels more as if you're resting softly in the
In
brilliance of who you are.
mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just you're a gift, and I feel blessed to know you because you create a possibility for anybody. All it takes is being here.
Thank you. Yeah, I have I felt when I'm being there and I really come into myself, I get goosebumps right now. It's like I have this shell of skin around me and like I take it and I feel it and I don't try to hide. I
Yeah,
have, yeah,
isn't it great that you can be okay being you?
yes,
They say here warts and all, like all the things we perceive as flaws, and then you discover that those quote flaws are not flaws at all. They're assets. They're humanity. They're things you have to offer other people so they can allow themselves to be fill their skin as well.
right, right. And I liked it. I really discovered how sharing perceived flaws and perceived mistakes, whatever it is, to share that with others, to show um, I'm I am perfect as I am, but still there are those moments which I perceive as mistakes or as flaws, but they actually are not. And it's so nice to share that when people see me as being a human being and not the role that I used to play in business, for example, in my company. I played the role, I know my business, I know how to do this and how to do that and not giving in the past, very past. I'm very open at the office as well with my colleagues, and I really love to do that. But I'm not taking on a role anymore, but I'm being there and I'm bringing myself with my passions, whether it's my horseback riding or other passions, these seminars. I can bring everything to that, and it makes me so much more available and alive.
Mm.
And I enjoy it so much.
You know what you're articulating, Yuta, is something I believe a lot of our listeners are looking for. The ability to not only look for something, but people come to seminars or they listen to this podcast for lots of different reasons, and sometimes they're looking for that missing something, or they're hoping to get recentered if they've been knocked off center. And I know that happens for all of us sometimes, but what you're articulating is you are beginning to, or maybe as fully as possible, you're seeing now what you have to offer, and it's not just the pieces of you that you judge worthy or you like. It's you as a whole.
As you show up in the current moment of your life, so you don't have to prepare for it. You can only be exactly as you are in the current moment of your life, and that's okay.
Yeah, I got a funny image when you were first talking, and we're talking about community and being part of a vibrant and alive community, and you deserve that. When I was a kid, we decorated Christmas trees, and we had really old type of
Ornaments?
Christmas tree lights, where you would take the string and you would wrap it around, so that it was going round and around the tree, and then you would plug it in. And if one bulb went out, the entire thing would not light up. So you had to go figure out which bulb was dead and replace it. And then it created a current so that all of the bulbs were bright. And I feel like when people come to our seminars, it's as if a current of everybody. And even if they perceive themselves as a dead bulb, they don't recognize that even that feeling flat adds something. Being who you are, as you are in any given moment, is a gift, as opposed to having to have it all together in your mind in order to make a difference. That you matter however you are.
Yeah, that's true. And I also sometimes used to just hide away from communities because I thought if I'm not having everything together, if I'm not balanced in a good mood, I can't show up. I can only show up if I'm perfectly fine. And it's really it's the contrary. I mean, I can show up anytime. And
You,
and
you
and
know,
and
what you just described was the symptoms of being upset.
yes.
When you're upset, you have to get it together before you can go back out and be around people. It's like when you're upset, you feel you have to cover yourself with a blanket until you feel better or feel good enough to be around folks. Taking your participation out of your life is a sure sign of upset. And
Yeah.
so, truth is, most people are upset most of the time. And that's the other thing. You find yourself not being upset most of the time these days. That's delightful. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I, I love that you're starting to see what you have to offer. And it's interesting that you it's not that you don't come to a seminar now and expect to get anything less. It actually is exponentially more vibrant, and part of that is recognizing that you make a difference, you have things to offer, and what you have to offer is however you are in this moment, as opposed to the cherry-picked version of Utah that you put forward like a mask. because there were parts of you approved of and parts you didn't approve of.
Right, right. Love it.
Love
Yes,
it
love it too.
Really awesome. So awesome being with you. Now, I know we've just had a really lovely conversation, and that's more than enough. However, if you did have some question today, we didn't want to, end this segment without answering it if there's something you wanted to ask.
I actually have no question,
I love it.
but it was so lovely to talk with you about these topics. I love to.
Well,
Love to
wishing
share.
you a happy holiday season, and hope to see you at Transformation in the New Year events. I want to let everybody know that just the way the New Year falls this year, we're doing our Transformation New Year event at the end of this year on December 30th. We're doing 2 Monday events, one midday our time, 7:30 your time, and one European time, and one in the evening Eastern time. And you can go to Living Made Easy and our website, transformationmadeeasy.com, if you'd like to join us. You're already part of this community if you're listening. So why not join us and let us all see each other and participate. So you're invited. Thank you, Yuta, and thanks.
Hey, it's time for the listener feedback spotlight.
It's where we get to hear from people in this amazing listenership and transformation community talking about what's happening in their lives.
Hi, I'm Julie in Yonkers, New York, and I find through attending transformational seminars that I have this appreciation of the little things in my life. I appreciate my dog more. I have more fun at work. I have more fun in little interactions with people that might be seen as not important, but they're very rich. I feel like every day I'm learning new things about my husband, and we've been together for years. So I invite you to come to seminars.
Do you want to have well-being with consistency? Connect with people all over the world from the comfort of your own home at Ariel and Shire's lively interactive Living Made Easy virtual seminars. Join any of their 2-hour online events or take a deep dive into the magic of being you at a virtual weekend seminar. Come on, let's connect. Find out more and register at transformationmadeeasy.com.
So as I mentioned with Yuta, we have 2 Living Made Easy seminars on Monday, the 30th, on the theme of transformation in the new year. Then we are doing a Leap into Life weekend virtual seminar. You're welcome to leap in, spend your day with us, or a part of your day with us, because it's a virtual seminar, and experience jumping into this year, not to be a different you, but to be fully yourself. Then Shai and I head off to Costa Rica. We're doing our 2 Costa Rica seminars, week 1, week 2. Some people are coming for a couple of weeks. So we won't have any more Living Made Easy seminars until the 27th and 28th of January. So if you want to come soon, you better leap soon. And then we'll see folks after we return. And we're looking forward to seeing so many of you with us in Costa Rica as well. I'm really excited about it this year.
Me too.
If you want to know our schedule for all of the spring, you can just go to our website, transformationmadeeasy.com, go to the seminar link, pick what's right for you, and register. Why not? Be a great holiday gift.
Right, and you could be deserving.
Why not? Let's take our next guest,
Maybe
shall we?
you're worthy.
I think so.
I think so too.
Hey, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Welcome to being here.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm Mark, and I'm here calling in from Hamburg, Germany.
Mm. So I know you've recently moved.
Mhm.
So is it a suburb? Does it have a subset aside from Hamburg, or is it just Hamburg?
It's still Hamburg on the address, but I believe if we can walk to the town line, so we're not far from the edge of Hamburg as a city. But like, there's New York City, and New York City has different boroughs and things like that. So we're in a further out, you could think of as a borough. And the name of the place that we are is called Zazel.
Zazel, that's a cool name.
Yeah, it's cool. We're between
Zazel, Hamburg.
we're between Zazel and Volksdorf.
I
Getting used to these names.
like it. What can we do for you, sir?
Well, the theme about community, I think is interesting. My introduction to community, I think, came from my, growing up, or my parents, and how things were with them, and it wasn't um, so positive, when I was first learning about it, um, because what I found was that we belonged to a church, we belonged to a a neighborhood and things like that. And what I found people talking about was talking about each other behind their backs and things like that. Um, and then, for example, we'd go to church, and then everybody be really nice in church. And then as soon as we got out to the parking lot, everybody be fighting to get out of the parking lot. So they'd be like, they'd be like a traffic jam, and it seemed to me to be like what was happening inside was not the same as what was happening outside there. And so unfortunately, this was, I think where I got my indoctrination to community.
Well, it's interesting that
Fortunately or unfortunately, see, I think
I'd
maybe that's
say
fortunate.
fortunately.
Yeah.
Because if you hadn't had that introduction,
Hmm.
you wouldn't have searched elsewhere for something else.
Yes.
Here's the other thing. I'm absolutely certain that all those people at your church, we'll just start with your church, for, it's smaller than your neighborhood, etc.
Hmm.
Were doing the best they could.
Yeah.
And so you saw that, and then you discover there's a wider possibility. Now you have, if in change, Mark,
Hmm.
you look and you see where you come from, and you analyze and you find the flaws, and you determine that you're going to do better or find better.
Or
and
different.
And it's,
Yeah.
it's against that which you came from, rather than recognizing that that's the fabric of Mark
Hmm.
that makes him great.
Okay.
And then there's other possibilities you discovered after that.
That's true.
Here's the thing, there are 3 principles to instantaneous transformation. The first one is anything you resist, you keep. So if
Hmm.
you resist the community that you grew up in, you become just like them.
Hmm.
If they were hateful, then you're hateful against that. Well,
Then
there's no possibility for something new if you're in resistance to something. When you're okay being the way you are, then you can look out into the universe, and anything that is available that you hadn't seen in your other community starts to become a possibility.
the other thing too is, when you talk about your childhood church, you're painting with very broad strokes now. So you're recalling the times that everybody talked about each other behind their backs, or there were traffic jams getting out, or the difference between being in that structure and then how people operated outside of the church itself. But you're remembering what you recorded.
From who
Yes.
you were at the time of the recording.
And you don't recall the things you didn't resist.
Uh-huh.
So
So,
it's skewed to the
hmm
things that we like, or the things that we were registering.
You know, it may not be pertinent to what we're talking about, but I remember many years ago, Ariel and I were in Gresham, Oregon, which is where she grew up, and we were having breakfast in a little cafe on the main street. And I looked out the window and I saw all these cars and pickup trucks coming down the road. You know, they had to stop at the red light. So there was this line of cars. And I looked at the people and I don't see them so sad. And I said to Ariel, what's going on here? These people are all so sad. She said, oh,
hmm
that's easy. They're coming from church.
Now, were they sad because of something they heard there? Were they not living up to their expectations? Did the church peel back their true experience of themselves? I don't know. I do know that that was a result often, but it's interesting because I have personally
Well, I'll tell you, I think it's because they were lectured about how to be and they weren't
living
living
up to
to
it.
that those standards that whatever they were, because I don't know, I wasn't in that church,
Mm.
you know, so I don't know what they were preaching, but I'm sure that, you know, churches figure we're all sinners. What if we're not sinners? What
hmm
if you've done nothing that God would be angry with you about? What if you could only have lived your life exactly as you have right up until this moment? See, you're okay exactly as you are, Mark. You couldn't have done anything different. You could only be in a suburb of Hamburg right now, whose name escapes me. That's why I said a suburb. See,
Zazel.
Basil,
Zazel.
Yeah.
Ah,
near folks
For Folksdorf.
or folks.
Yes.
Yes.
So, which is Peoplestown, Folksdorf.
I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah. You know, for the longest time, I really was wondering why I had such a reaction, and um, because I saw that there's plenty of people who get a lot out of community, you know, and I really feel like this community, transformation community, is the first time I really felt like good, you know, or maybe it was I was letting myself feel good or whatever it was. But, you know, it feels real, you know, and the people that I meet, you know, they're genuinely happy and sharing, and it's just a great thing to be around, you
I
know.
think you miss, I think you're cherry picking again. I do believe people
Yeah.
are genuine. And
hmm
part of that includes being honest when they're genuinely unhappy.
Yeah.
Because if you resist or hide unhappy, then happy is over top of a well of unhappy,
Yeah.
and it doesn't register to other people as genuine. And anything you allow to be exactly as it is completes itself. So then what reemerges is this vibrant being as opposed to the mask, which is what Yuta was talking about,
the
over top.
pretense.
Right. Mm,
What, where people are trying to be good people rather than resting
right.
themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is, by the way, when we come back to Hamburg in late May, we're doing a course called The Superpower of Being You.
hmm
Being
I like that.
it, I do too. I mean, we're doing the Freedom to Breathe also, which I am so thrilled about because it's simple and
Oh, but it's so profound.
profound, where you allow yourself to be fully you and miracles happen. Miracles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been involved with the doing the Freedom to Breathe before, and more than once, and it's always different, you know,
But
Exactly.
which
that's
is
the
really
moment
cool.
when you're here for it.
See,
It's always different.
right,
Yeah,
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
yeah. So that's
But
yeah.
I just want to go back to it's so easy when you've moved on from something
Hmm.
to look back at it and make it wrong. Like you used
Okay.
to live in the Woodstock area,
Right.
upstate New York, as did we.
Hmm.
We can either go back and talk about what we resisted,
Hmm.
if anything,
Right.
so it's not to have to miss it.
Okay.
There's a really cool thing. Somerset Maugham wrote a book called Razor's Edge, and in the movie version with Bill Murray playing the main character, he's an ambulance driver during World War One, correct?
I think it was a Spanish
Spanish War.
war that happened
Okay.
around that time.
So, okay, the Spanish War. And when people who were his compatriots got killed, they would sit and they'd say, oh, you know,
He won't be missed.
that
You could feed armies for the crumbs that were stuck in his beard.
you know, he was so slovenly when he ate and food fell out of his mouth, and you could, yes, feed small armies of children. He shall not be missed. So it was this whole ritual they would do of kind of, you know, large way trashing them and then
Hmm.
say, he shall not be missed or she shall not be missed. And I feel like sometimes we do that with our past, like as if that wasn't you. It's like if you're standing on the floor and it's a wood floor, the grain in the wood is from the lean times, the times with lots of sunshine, the times with lots of rain. It creates the beauty and the burls of mark.
Hmm.
You try and get rid of all of that, you have no floor to stand on.
And what you don't realize is your past, that community of hateful people brought you to this moment of your life.
Yeah.
If you didn't have that, you couldn't have this. See,
Yeah.
it was all perfect. There's this great movie, The Last Samurai, with Tom Cruise.
Hmm.
And in that movie, there's this samurai warlord, and he's looking at the blossoms of the cherry trees. And he says, you could spend your life looking for the perfect blossom, and it would not be a wasted life. And then at the
Hmm.
end of the movie, when he's dying, he sees cherry blossoms floating in the air, and he
Yeah.
says, they're all perfect.
Oh, wow.
Every moment has brought you to this moment, Mark. You couldn't have done anything differently than you've done. You've been successful in your life. That's the reality of it.
Wow. I thank you. I just shivered when I heard that.
Well,
Yeah.
it's so true.
Wow.
I know they can't see you, but our listeners are listening, but you got all flushed.
Yeah.
And you got all you, and you rushed inside your bulb and you're lighting this Christmas tree.
Oh.
There's such a beauty in you,
Thank you.
particularly when you gather the pieces of you that you've rejected because you held them as less or flawed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
That's
Really.
just wonderful.
Been a pleasure to be with you today, my friend.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing you when next we can meet in person.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Thank you. Me too.
You know, I'm not sure if you're listening how you came across this podcast, if you've listened all the time or if you've shared it, recently been shared this by a friend. I want to let you know that you're free, should you wish, to subscribe to the podcast. Sharing these podcasts with people really make a difference. We hear over and over from people who listen to the podcast on their way to work, on their commute, while they exercise, while they're just sitting and being quiet with a friend. They get together and do it as a social thing. Just letting you know, if you want it in your inbox, you can subscribe. We also have a newsletter that goes out at least once a month. It includes blogs, it includes videos. For those of you who are more comfortable in the German language, I know that you're listening to this in English. All of our blogs are translated by some of the incredible people in our community to make them more accessible. They're translated into German. So you can sign up and also make sure that you're on the German list as well. We can make sure about that for you. And you can make a leap this year if you haven't done it already. You could join us for a Living Made Easy seminar and add your light. I mean, your light is here just by listening, and but it would be really wonderful to meet you. It's a special community. We're happy you're a part of it. Next week's episode is
2025 Made Easy.
Why not? We'll be back next week.
So come on back.
And don't miss
Being